Welcome to the AirCon Vault. Here you can find recordings of the live streams from Eric's audio conference. These are made free thanks to our sponsors. A sound effect, Audio Kinetic, Boom Library, Bright Skull, Dolby, Fmod, Game Audio Learning, Game SoundCon, Kilohertz, Motion Picture Sound Editors, Rev Rooms, Sound Cuts, Sound Warriors, and Airwiggles, the online home for audio creatives. We hope you enjoy the video.
Okay, welcome to this is Get Good at Game Audio Beyond a Beginner's Mindset. To kick us off, it would be really cool if you post in the chat what you think would help you get good at game audio. Thank you so much for joining. It's really nice to see everybody in the chat and who's joined already. So let's get started. If you haven't met me before, my name is Sarah McRuvie. I'm an audio designer at Team Junkfish. I have a background in teaching music and music technology. At the moment, I'm playing Slay the Spire 2. It's in early access. Let me know if you're playing that or what you're playing at the moment. And outside of game audio, I am into yoga, running, and from the start of this year, I've gotten into bouldering as well. So a little bit about me. So here's a wee content overview for you. Today we have the 5 Ps of getting good at game audio. So today we're going to look at practice, partner up, preparation, pacing, and purpose. Aha! I see lots of people have already said practice, so nice one. Sharpen your nail. This is number 1. Practice. So we're going to look at practice methods, iterative process, failing fast, breaking the perfectionist mindset, and being less precious. So think about when you start a new game, do you think that you're going to end the game at the same skill level that you start? Probably not, right? So it doesn't really matter where you are in your career. Leveling up is always going to be a thing. Getting better at things always requires practice. So to start with, how do you practice? How do I practice? So lots of different ways that we can practice our game audio skills. We can take one sound and make lots of variations on that sound. You could grab a gameplay clip, a trailer, an animation, and there's 2 ways you could approach these. You could do a redesign where you take the material and develop your own style, or you could do a recreation. So you could try to recreate the original, which is going to help develop your ear, develop your ability to analyze and reproduce sounds. Okay, so at Team Junkfish, we try and do a weekly sound design challenge. So this is a quick breakdown of the layers I used for a control resonant clip. So this is what I did for a sort of wee 1-hour challenge. So I grabbed like a plastic Foley sound to start with. And then I chucked some OTT. To get that like tactile, spatialized, glitchy movement. Then we've got like a electricity riser for some high frequency content. Some distorted synths to like ground the piece. This is Reaper. So then we've got this low end rubber sound, which like cuts to the coffee cup. And then some granular synthesis. So the granular synthesis is like filling out the space, and that helps represent the sort of kaleidoscopic, broken, chaotic images. So yeah, so that was just an example of one quick redesign I did. It can be really useful to pick one thing to explore within these redesign challenges that you set yourself. So for example, maybe just using synthesis or using one sample only. Limitations and boundaries can often push us to explore things more creatively, as well as practicing specific techniques. So another example is to take a still image and then just let your imagination sort of run wild. This can be a really fun one if you're like stuck in a rut and want to get creative. Okay, so for me, this was like, you have this representation of kind of internal like madness inside the guy's head. So sort of banging on the inside of his head, like the prison walls, like trying to escape. So it's quite a dark exploration, that one. Another example on the right here is to get yourself creating some sort of small library pack. So maybe recording, synthesizing, and manipulating sounds. So you could grab a bunch of different things to try and design. So this example is like just 10 drones, like a drone pack. So yeah, you could other time challenges include only using one plugin, maybe creating a specific synth patch. Also you could build up your source library. So grab one specific source. So maybe it's wood, maybe it's ceramic, and then record it in multiple ways. So maybe you focus on getting impacts, friction, movement, tonality, all from one source. These can be good things to do in timed challenges. So deep dives, part 2 of how to practice. This is more of a research and development approach. So where you can focus your spare time to look into one topic and basically try and find out everything you can about that topic. Find references, articles, videos, podcasts, ideas, and then you can analyze like games, do some redesigns, and then collate everything into one place for future reference, and you got yourself a wee guidebook that you can come back to. So choose something you're interested in or want to know more about. Okay, so we've come to an example of the iterative process and failing fast. So the specific example we're looking at is an interaction sound of pulling a resource off of a plant. So we've got 3 iterations, A, B, and C. and we're going to look at them one by one. So for A, I wasn't really satisfied with the layers used in the end because the pinecone snaps had too many transients there, which kind of made it sound a bit more of a digital UI sound, and the leaves were a bit noisy. So I've quickly moved on to a slightly different texture. So for B, I've used some celery for an organic crunch. And for me, that was a much more satisfying, fuller bodied sound. With iteration C, I've added back in that low end weight for the UI feedback of collecting a resource. So audio design can often be an iterative process where you're not going to nail the first design that you do. And this means that you want to fail fast. You need to let go of what's not working, and figure out quickly what style is right, what the direction should be. And this requires breaking that perfectionist mindset and being less precious. So this leads us nicely to our next point, which is about partnering up, because we want to be open to critique as well with our perfectionist mindset, right? So number 2, partner up, summon a pal. So you don't have to fight that boss alone. Be curious with your colleagues, your peers, your friends. Get consistent feedback and communication with your team, and this can really help push yourself forward. To help each other, you can share DAW sessions, effects chains, analyze your work together, have open discussions. So think about what sounds did they use, what sources did they use, what plugins did they use, and more importantly, why. Why did they use them? So understand their brain. Bonus points if you're working on the same project, because you're going to align on the sound palette. You're going to have that cohesion. And if you're a solo dev, tap into the audio community. So this wonderful platform, Airwiggles, we have Discord groups, in-person meetups, Slack channels. In my experience, game audio people are super friendly and always willing to give feedback. So tap into that, use that. Number 3, preparation. Exploit the build you know best. We need to know our tools, okay? So set yourself up so that your DAW serves you. There's so many ways to set up your DAW, and we're going to look at some examples. Set up your space to spark creativity and limit distractions. Set yourself up for success. Tap into your flow state. How did you get there? Is your workspace a place you want to be in? How can you make it better? So that's going to be super personal to you. Maybe it's your favorite poster on the wall. Maybe it's a plant. Maybe it's a whole rack of modular synths that's going to inspire you to get creative. Okay, so some examples that we're going to look at of how to get you prepared would be Reaper themes, scripts, color coding, templates, effects chains. And then you've got things like blocking out your calendar for focus, telling yourself it's time to focus, and do not disturb to get rid of notifications to help you get into that flow state. Here's some examples of some Reaper themes, just to show you how different your DAW can look even within the same DAW. So this is a Logic DAW theme from one of my colleagues with the global sampler plugin at the top and the transport at the bottom. Here's another one with Reaper Tips theme, dark with light menus. Again, there's the global sampler script at the top. plugin at the top and the Media Explorer on the right. And here's just a completely different example for it's the white tie imperial theme for large monitors. So just to give you an idea of how you can tailor it for yourself. Okay, templates. Templates are really useful. Sometimes you just want to get something done really quickly. Sometimes you want a blank slate. Sometimes you want a template. So this is a really simple template. It's got 5 like track stacks or folders with your parent and your child tracks underneath. It's got 2 auxiliary tracks, one for compression, one for reverb. It's got some monitoring effects. So it's got a limiter, so you know that you're never going to blast your ears because it's always there. And it's got 5 regions and 5 markers. Okay, the Universal Category System, UCS, it's really, really great for library organization. It was created with the intention for having consistent categorization of sound effects. And this renaming tool inside Reaper, this script from Aaron Senden is really, really cool, really helpful if you haven't come across that. If you haven't come across that before, this is also a nice one to have. Lots of ways to color code in Reaper and in your DAW in general. This is just one of the ways, going up to options, themes, color palette, and then you can recolor your tracks. Helps to keep things organized. As well as using colors inside your DAW, it can be really helpful for working inside Unreal Engine if you're using UE. This is an example of a meta sound that uses colors and comments to label each part. It can also be really helpful to use colors within blueprints, especially if you use one specific color and your initials. So for example, if I had all of my blueprint edits in pink and I had SM, then the coders and people in other disciplines that I work with will know that it's me that's come in and edited that blueprint. So these kind of small things can help like future you, as well as if you happen to get hit by a bus, and then it's going to help someone else. Other ways you can be prepared is to have a few microphones which are ready to go. This helps reduce that friction of having to set something up if you're short on time and want to record something quickly. Also nice to have something portable to take out with you, and your phone is amazing if you have nothing better, right? Use the tool that you have. So, talking of taking our mic outside, we come to number 4, pacing, take breaks. So you're unlikely to defeat that boss if you've been at it for hours and hours. So regular breaks help productivity and focus. So get outside, get into nature, take your eyes off the screen, protect your ears, your moneymakers. They get fatigued, so don't brute force it. If you cannot hear critically due to prolonged listening, you're not going to do a very good job and you're going to get frustrated. So go take a break. I also find personally that having other hobbies outside of gaming and audio is nice, a nice balance. So yeah, and check things like posture. Are you sitting like a gremlin? Like get stretching, be good to yourself and your body. Okay, one of my favorite tools is Pomodoro Kitty. This is a very simple Pomodoro timer where the cat meows at you when your time's up. So the Pomodoro technique is a time management tool where you set a timer to focus for 25 minutes and then have a 5-minute break. And then you focus for larger chunks of time and get rewarded with a longer break. I'm sure many of you have cats at home that have much nicer sounds, but there we go. Get into nature. So I'm very lucky and blessed to be living in the beautiful city of Edinburgh. There are lots of places I can get out to and escape and get away from my screen. So think about if there's somewhere near you that you can go for a walk, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. And bonus points if you get some recordings at the same time. Okay, number 5, purpose. Find room 46. So you've taken your break and you're back at your task. You can't forget your overall objective, your purpose. Your sound, your music, it all needs to serve the game. You need to keep the design intention at the front of your mind. So what are the game pillars? What are the audio pillars? It can be problematic to create assets in isolation. We can't really do sound design in a vacuum. We have to test our work in the game world because it has to belong to that game world at the end of the day. So what does this look like in practice? I'm going to talk a little bit about creating soundscapes for Wilderdark, which is our upcoming survival horror dinosaur photography game. That's a big sentence. So when creating soundscapes, it's common to have 2D area loops, beds, and lots of 3D elements that may be placed in the world. We can try and put them together in our DAW to get an idea of what it could sound like, but ultimately we need to figure out how this will work in Engine. We need to test how they sound in the right space. So here are just some individual elements for Wilderdark. So we've got a 2D dissonant drone. And then we've got some 3D croaks, creaks, groans, and growls. Okay, so for Wilderdark, we've been using the Unreal Engine Soundscape system plugin, which creates dynamic worlds through the use of procedurally generated ambient sounds. So it uses colors, which are these individual elements, and then it uses palettes, which are these groups of colors. So there are a variety of parameters you can control to create these unique soundscapes, and where you can set these spawn behaviors. But what has this got to do with purpose? So the resulting soundscape must align with the overall design intention. So do the sounds work together? Do they work with the sounds already implemented? We need to test the spawn rates, the distance, the rotation, the believability, the immersion. So for example, why have I not used any birds in this design? I am actively trying to avoid any psychological feeling of safety. I want the world to feel alive, but not overly familiar. So in this case, are we making the player feel uneasy, apprehensive, curious? Like, is it translating to the survival horror aesthetic that is needed? So in order to help us with this, we have audio debug tools, which are our friends. So in Unreal Engine, we can use these audio console commands. We can play an editor and see where our sounds are spawning. So here's an example, quick example of that. So hopefully you can see that you're able to visualize these sounds in real time. And this helps us craft and edit the values inside the colors and the palettes. And then hopefully with any luck, we can reach our intended goal. So in conclusion, to get good at game audio, we need to consider practice, breaking perfectionism, partnering up, working with others to build knowledge, preparation, set up our tools for an efficient workflow, pacing, take regular breaks to help productivity and reset, and purpose, keep our design intentions clear. Thank you so much for having me and joining me in the chat. If you have any questions, maybe Lewis is going to see, but if there are any questions.
There are some questions, and I'm indeed going to read some out to you. That was fantastic, Sarah. Really well done. I really enjoyed the presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through questions from most popular to least popular. So put a thumbs up next to questions that you would like to see answered in the chat. We'll go through a few of them quickly, but we're a little bit tight for time, so we might not be able to reach all of them. So Michael asks, what is your process for finding good sound sources? Do you record all your own sounds in Foley, or do you amass a big sound library that you pull from?
That's a very good question. So I do a bit of both. So at Junkfish, we have some libraries that we use. So we use Boom One library. We also try and record some sources and create our own library. So whenever we do recording, we have like a shared space which we put together. Finding good sound sources, I mean, that takes time and experimentation. I think there are some solid libraries out there, though. Boom, definitely one of them.
I actually think as part of Boom sponsoring AirCon this year, they've released a little free sound pack, which you can find on airmagos.com. So nice. There you go, free sound effects, everybody. Okay. Another question here. How do you deal with burnouts during a session? As in you've been trying to get a specific sound for a while and can't quite get what your boss/mentor wants?
I would go with the take a break. So get away from it and get your ears off of it. You might have that fatigue. You might not be able to hear what your boss is hearing because you've listened to it so much and your ears are fatigued. So I would step away from it and then come back to it with fresh ears. That would be my solution to that.
I totally agree with that, by the way, Sarah. It's just like having a break. It's just so easy to get in the weeds of doing little changes here and then. You just completely lose focus. So yeah, I think that's great advice. Cool. Another question. Callahan asks, when doing a redesign of a clip, how do you tend to approach things from a design perspective? Do you have anything you like to start with typically? Would you try something new with every one? How do you start a redesign?
How do I start a redesign? I try and think about what I want to achieve, like whether it's a... So am I like... What am I trying to achieve with the clip? So is there something in the clip that is like that I want to pull out and draw from? Like, is there a certain emotion that I want to convey? It kind of depends. Yeah, I do tend to try new things with each one, I think. I don't have a typical approach.
Okay. Thank you. Folks, I know there's way more questions, but I'm sorry, as we have no more time because we have to start prepping for the next talk. Sarah, that was such a great presentation. Thank you so much for joining us and doing it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful.
I'm glad. Yeah, it was really good. And I think the audio stream was okay in that one as well. So tech issues, all good. We're all good. Yeah, tune in about 10 minutes, folks, for the next stream, which is Chris Bolt doing some rapid fire Reaper radness, which is the talk, which is very fun to say. But in the meantime, Sarah, thank you again so much. If you have any extra questions for Sarah that we didn't quite get to, feel free to post them in the Hangout space on Airwiggles, and then at Sarah in all the questions you might have for her, and she might be able to get back to them soon. Okay, everybody, all good? See you later. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.